Well, hey guys, and welcome to today's edition of Amesey's Corner. We've got a lot going on today. It's a real busy place. We've got a nice BMW, just had a sticker done, good to go. But the topic of today's Amesey's Corner is actually something that stuck with me the first time I saw one in the 80s. I was about 11 years old when this car came out. And what we have here is a real pretty 87 Chevy Monte Carlo SS. We'll do a quick walk around because, like I said, we got a lot going on today. Look at how sinister. This was the first car that when I was younger I looked at and said, man, that thing looks awful sinister. I believe this is a GM, what is it? B-body, G-body, something like that. Someone will know, someone will say at some comment in the future. Let's take a look inside. I really liked the interior on these. I thought it was really neat with the red pinstriping. Yeah, nice red pinstriping they put on the dash and all that. I think that's a really neat looking thing for these 80s cars. There's the back seat. Another thing I liked about these was the T-tops. Now that's something you don't see anymore. Let's see if we can get a really good shot of those. What's the last car that we've seen with T-tops? I mean, yeah, they had their issues when the seals wore out, but you know what, on a hot summer night, you take those things off and you're cruising. And it still looks like a roof. Let's take a look under the hood of this one. I believe this would have come with a 305 in it. I don't believe that's what's in it now. I believe this has a 350, the 5.7, all done up. It goes pretty well. Just giving it a check over today, that's why it's here. Yeah. Well, we got the glass guy doing his thing. Gotta get out of his way pretty quick. Now what I have here is this 04 Cadillac CTS. Now I wasn't a very big Cadillac fan before these. I kind of got into the Cadillacs with the era of the North Star engine, which is just a mess. That engine's just a mess. And these cars, the later Cadillacs really got away from that. This is more traditional rear-wheel drive. Really has a nice ride, yet it still handles well. These definitely aren't your grandfather's Cadillacs. And we got that Chevy, pretty quality Chevy interior. You know, more of a sportier gauge cluster and layout than you would expect in a normal luxury car like a Cadillac or something. You know, nice tight interior. That GM's really been stepping it up on everything. You know, nice tight seats, nice bolsters. You know, it doesn't really feel like you're driving a couch. It feels like you're driving more of a performance offering than a luxury Cadillac. Now, I think it's a little too simple. Maybe it's just this trim because it hasn't got a lot of the inserts. Still a nice driving car. The build quality is way up from the North Star Caddies. I know a lot of people that bought a North Star Caddy thinking it was great, had tons of power. The trouble with that car was it was just so tightly packed under the hood. And we'll show this one, which is nothing like the old North Stars. Those North Star engines, I think on a good day they would get like 13 miles out of a gallon of gas, which is just ridiculous for a passenger car. And here they've got the variable valve timing 3.6 liter V6. Which is no slouch. I'm going to say by driving it feels like it's got about 230 horsepower or so. You know, it's nice and open. We got your conventional belt layout, and these aren't hard, tucked into the fender well like a lot of the older Caddies were. The older Caddies were just as open as, say, that Monte Carlo a few weeks ago. I really can't think of anything bad to say, any gripe about these cars. What we have here is an 89 Suburban. I think he said it's got a 3-inch lift on it. Neat old girl. I like the gray. It's one of my favorite colors. Take a quick peek around this behemoth. This is back when trucks were trucks. Nowadays they're just car SUVs that want to be trucks. See if we can keep this out of the sun a little. Oh, this one's quick because, like I said in the last video, I want to get the heck out of here. A little filthy. Yeah, well, this side's maybe not quite as pretty as the other, but welcome to New England winters. And he drives this truck. I believe he takes it off-road. He's got bigger 33s or 35s, I think he said. Let's take a look under the hood. This grimy old beast. Well, let's take a look in here. Look at that. That's a 350. Look, you can tell. Oh, yeah. Head is. Looks like he's got some throttle body upgrade he was talking about, but the air cleaner ain't going to let us see that. Well, let's look inside of this thing. Look at this. It's definitely not for chicks with skirts. Look at that. The sun's kind of wreaking a little havoc, huh? Towely. This guy's a riot. The stickers. A little better dash than that. Oh, sorry about the sun. Sun. A little better dash than that nice green Chevy I saw a second ago. But look at that. Watch out, there might be bears back there in this freaking what we have here is an 07 Chevy Suburban LTZ. Now, you might remember a week ago, a little over a week ago, I had that mid-80s Suburban. Well, here's how they're doing it nowadays. And I must say, Chevy, with this style, and a lot of their other trucks, really stepped up their quality. Now, we'll go around it real quick. This is something brought to us by Interstate. It's a dealer down the street, kind of a smaller dealer, but they do a lot of high-end stuff. Stuff like this. Yeah, LTZ, real clean. This is actually going to be used by the representative from Interstate that we deal with. I think he's going to use this as his own personal vehicle, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. Now, I really like the interior on these trucks, and the later model Chevy trucks themselves, the 1500, the 2500s, all have this same dash. We'll get inside, we'll take a look. Yeah, you got the nice laid out gauges. I don't like how some of the older Chevys have like a Fisher-Price looking dash on them. We got a lot of that nice burl walnut inlays and all of that. Another neat thing this has is the radio is also a reverse camera. Yeah, so you're not running anybody over. Really neat. A lot of neat features. Tow haul button. Yeah, mirrors fold in, all that good stuff. A lot of room in the back, at a third row back there, and still got storage space. It's got the DVD player. I don't know why they never made those things so you could use them with your laptop. Some of them don't have very good inputs, but whatever. Keeps the kids happy playing whatever annoying show you're going to watch. Yeah, the auto lights. So, we'll take a look under the hood. Sometimes these come with a 6-liter. This particular one is kind of a lower performance. This is a 1500, so it only has the 5.3 in it. But you know what? You really want to feed a 6.0? You really want to feed a 6-liter engine? $4 a gallon gasoline? Yeah, nothing special. Just your average small block Chevy. Yeah. Runs smooth. Someone put a cold air intake. Now, one thing I gotta say, people put these on their vehicle and they put them on and they expect them just to work and work and work. Now look how dirty that is. That's never been cleaned. Someone put that on and they just forget about it. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep those cleaned and oiled. So if you've got one of those on your car and you haven't looked at it in a month, well, you're doing something wrong. Now, another thing I like about these is the hood treatment. The little bulges. Kind of the engine's so powerful it has to stick out the hood. That's where they're going with what I have to show you is an 88 Camaro IROC Z28. Real pretty car. This one's for sale. If anybody out there wants to drive away in it, I can make that happen. Not a lot of money for it either. Well, let's take a quick walk around it. I've always liked these cars. There was just something about them when I was growing up. I was about 12 years old when this car came out. My uncle had one, and I remember really enjoying it. Really thought it was a neat thing. Yeah, this one's pretty and shiny. It's owned by an auto body guy, so you know it's been taken care of. Let's take a look inside of it. I think the dashes on these are really a neat dash setup on them. I've always wondered how it would fare in a collision. You know, that passenger whacks his head on that big aircraft carrier thing, but that's what they had. There's that gauge cluster. Sorry about the sun if this is a little faded. Also, I'm using a new program, new app to capture these videos. Hopefully this comes out a little better. IROC Z. Well, it's an automatic. The manuals are kind of hard to find. I think a lot of the manual transmission versions of this car ended up in the cabbage. This is another one of those cars that people think they know how to drive it, and then the back end passes the front end and you end up in the cabbage. Now let's take a look under the hood. Oh, the strakes. I don't think they're functional on this car, just for looks. Jeez, that's a heavy hood. Well, there it is. 5.7 liter tune port injected. I'm guessing, I think if I remember right, these make about somewhere between 230 and 280, I want to say, for horsepower. Just American muscle. I know it's been invasion of the Britons, so I figured I'd show a little American muscle for you guys. What we have here is a 1978 Z28 Camaro. Now we'll take a quick walk around. This here is a real custom job. I like the green on it. Z28 rear. Got the color matched wheels. This guy, this is a body shop guy that owns this car, I believe. We'll go right under the hood of this one, because I think that's where this one shines the most. As you can see, I've already got it open. Just trying to open that, holding this video recording device would be nearly impossible. And there we have a pretty hot, pretty done up 350. Got a 4-barrel, I think that's a 750 double pump Holly under there. Set of headers. This looks like it's got a couple years of use on it. It's been broken in. And it's still not finished, in my opinion. Yeah. These real AN fittings. Yeah, those are real AN fittings. Now I'll go to a car show, and I'll see a car with these AN fittings where this is actually a cover for a hose clamp and a rubber line under it, and I always make fun of that. And when I saw this, I was ready to make fun of this. I was ready to say, oh, look at all this, but this is all real AN stuff. You know, a lot of times, you know, a lot of people won't do that. I'm kind of impressed, because when you see that at a car show, I just shake my head. I think a lot of you guys that have done this sort of stuff will agree with me. If you have AN look-alike fittings on your car, on your performance car, and you're bringing it to a car show with fake AN stuff, why even bother? Just do the regular rubber right, or do it right way with the AN. I'd have to say this thing, by the look of its trim, I mean, you can't tell what it's got for a cam, but it idles pretty lopey. I'd say it's probably in the low 300 horsepower range. Rear wheel drive. It's got a 4-speed tranny in it. Let's go take a look inside at that. Let's close this old hood. Listen to this. That's steel. Ain't no plastic there. Now the interior is kind of a plain Jane little setup. Kind of reminds me a lot of that turbo Trans Am we had, but for what it is, it's in good shape. Definitely has an odor to it. Yeah, Z28, same interior as that other one. Let's see how this one sounds, shall we? Oh. Help if I had it in neutral. Yeah, sounds nice. Well, guys, sounds nice from out here too, huh? There it is, pretty sexy, mint. She obviously knows how to drive it. You know, a lot of people that would get into this car thinking they know how to drive, and wham, bam, they'd end up in the cabbage. I don't recommend driving one of these through the cabbage. Now, can you imagine going back to, like, I don't know, 67 when that Fairlane was sold? Can you imagine bringing this back then and showing that? Yeah. Yeah. No dents, no dings. She knows what she's doing with it. Let's take a look inside. Oh, look at that. Nice vet interior, nice Z06 dash. I got the keys and I could steer it, but you get the idea. One thing I don't get about these cars, they give you that piece of shit GM stereo. They put that thing in like Cavaliers, and you get in your Corvette too. Whatever. One thing I really like about this car is it's got these little rubber buttons. I don't see a lot of GMs or any cars with that crap on them. Here we are in New England. Every time you open your doors, you get your snow coming down and hits those things and makes them feel crappy and wear out and all that junk. Yeah. Manual transmission, as it should be. Look at this. There ain't nothing going on in that back end, is there? Well, it ain't no different than the Fairlane. You see that? You see that thing right there? This thing right here? That there is a genuine oh shit handle. I think that's actually the term we would use if we ordered it. Yeah, the oh shit handle's broken. And the guy would say, Jesus, I don't want to know. Let's see what year this thing is. I'm not quite sure. Got a tag on the door. Let me see what that thing reads. Oh, it's an 01. It's in really nice shape for an 01, huh? Let's take a look under the hood. Look at that. Nice intake scoop to cool the brakes. I think that's what that does. Yep. Yep. Cools them big rear brakes. Nice vented rotors. Yeah. Let's see what drives this beast. And there it is in all its glory. 5.7. Monday morning. I had this on my lift. Really nice 92 vet. Now the gentleman that owns this owns, I think, somewhere close, maybe a little fewer than a dozen of these Corvettes from different era. And we'll get every one of his cars on a video. Now this is a kind of a neat one. One thing I really hate about these cars, and it's sort of a common complaint, when I was getting into this car to bring it to where it is now, I went to get in, and I went whack just like that. I got myself pretty good. Right there. From that. Right there. Now you look, you got to get your feet into this tiny little area. Now I'm going to be honest here. I've got some kayaks. I've got kayaks that are easier to get into than this sports car. So let's see what this is like. You get that big hump. Oh, ow, ow! Hit myself where I hit myself earlier. And you got the steering wheel, and you got to get down into this thing. Yowza. Well, once you're in here, it's not bad. At least it's not really that cookie cutter instrument panel layout that some of those other vets, the later ones, might have had. You get the neat gauge cluster in there. I don't have the wheel turn. We'll get a look. Yep. Got the kind of science fiction-y information center, digital display, speedo. This one's a 6-speed, which is good. You really get a lot of torque. When these things are automatics, an automatic Corvette just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't have the pull. You don't really get that connection of the torque to the ground with an automatic. So nice 5.7 with a stick. I like how those feel. Got these weird lumbar seats. Oh. You got a nice removable roof, kind of like the T-tops. Let's take a look under the hood. Like every other Corvette, you got the back clamshell opening hood. And there's that 5.7 tucked right in there. Now, I always liked how you had a lot of access. Probably the problem with these is it's about knee high. This whole engine bay is about knee high, so when you're working on it out here under the ground, you pretty much feel like you're laying on the ground just being on top of the motor. It's not the hardest thing to work on. You can see that electric water pump down there. That's kind of a neat feature. Yeah. Some nice rims, nice tires, those stock. I'm not sure what they call those wheels. He takes this gentleman takes really nice care of his vets. He just has so many of them. Well, till next time, keep them out of the cabbage.